Hey, Seamus here in Springfield, Illinois, and today is my birthday. Meet Abe. Yes, it is my birthday, and in this town, Springfield, Illinois, they love their Lincoln. Statues everywhere, and I'm presently at the state capitol. So let's get started on a special request that was put in to do a little bit of talk about computer talk. That's right, one of you subscribers actually suggested I should do something on computers. But after I thought about it and said there's computer stuff all around the internet, I thought of something. I thought about, what about telling you something that you can take to your nerdiest computer guy who thinks they know it all and fool them with some information that says you are superior. Especially if you get the information from someone who's licensed and certified to be a hacker. Well, I hope you're ready for this. It's Vatawc, but it's very little known technical information. To get to the point about what you're going to tell your friends, we'll take a little bit of informational history. So we're going to talk about hard drives and the labels and how they're labeled. And they're labeled with sizes like 320, 500 gigabyte, 1 terabyte. But that's not really true. Those sizes really only have like 298 gigabyte for a 320, 465 for a 500, and 931 for a 1000 gigabyte, or what we call a terabyte. What? That's right. So the people who invented and built the original hard drives, they used a language that they were familiar with, and that was the metric system. Problem was the computer makers and people that made RAM, and especially operating system makers like Microsoft, they defined space by a different method, binary. So when asked about the amount of storage space on the hard drive, the marketing executives were informed that there was, let's say, 1,000 kilobytes of space on this new invention. Hard drive companies use metrics. So space is represented when they do their math. They just use, like, it's the power of 10, you know. So when they write it down, they write down 10 to the third power. And for you math people, or not math people, that means anything to the power of anything means you multiply it that many times. So 10 to the third means 10 times 10 times 10, which happens to be 1,000. So if there's 500 gigabytes of space, they should actually sell 500 gigabytes. If a drive only has 465 gigabytes, then that's what should be on the label. But it's not. They say you have 500 gigabytes. Gotta like this sales guy. Sounds like a deal, right? I mean, a label says there's more pieces of space than there really is. Yeah, we will be seeing this guy again real soon. So Microsoft and other manufacturers said a kilo space of anything is represented by 2s, not 10s. So when their math people would write it out, they'd put the number 2 and say it's to the 10th power. And so, like I said, anything to the power means you multiply it that many times. So you put 10 number 2s down and you multiply them all together. And if you do it on a calculator, you equal 1024. So they said a kilo of anything is 1024 of the item, while the metric system and the entire world says a kilo is defined by having 1,000 of something. So the hard drive makers said space was calculated using math from the metric system. Microsoft and computer makers said space was calculated using math from the binary system. And look what we end up with. You end up with them labeling a drive as 500 gigabyte. You put it in your computer and you ask how much is on it, and ta-da, it only says you have 465. Remember this guy? So here's the sales pitch we have all been falling for since the start of computers. Hard drive makers can put 465 gigabytes of space on a hard drive, but computer makers sell it as 500. What the, what? Huh? What? Oh, no, what? No way. Come on, that's just not right. That's right. And it's legal too, because it is acceptable to round up to the nearest megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, or whatever to match the nearest metric term. So now comes the part where you blow the mind of your best computer friend, if you haven't already had your mind blown with what we talked about so far. There's an organization called the IEC, stands for the International Electrotechnical Commission. They set the standards on what anything electronic is to be called. Way back in 1998, they said that this deception has to end. And they created a new term for the two industries to use. Would you just pick one? So they could tell the people that the computer's hard drive, has the right amount of gigabytes, or use the terms like kibibytes or mebibytes or gibibytes. And we're going to get into exactly what that is. That's a brand new word. And there's where your computer people are going to have a deer in the headlights look. Like, what are you talking about? A kibibyte? A mebibyte? A gib? Oh, go away. You have them at this point. You know more than they do. Let's get into what that is. So while a kilo of something and a mega of something and a giga of anything meant that the space calculation was used, the metric system, and is accurate by that particular math, they should also say that the right amount of kibibytes and mebibytes and gibibytes, etc., as calculated from the binary type of math. See, the actual terms kibibytes and mebibytes and gibibytes come from combining the terms used in metrics with the term for binary. Let me show you. So kibibytes means kilobytes in binary. And do you see those two yet? Okay, let's try the next one. Mebibytes means megabytes in binary, and gibibytes means gigabytes in binary. See how that works? How they got the KI is the first two letters of kilobytes, and then BI for binary, and megabytes is ME for megabytes, and BI for binary, and gigabytes is GI for gigabytes, and BI for binary. All they did was add the word bytes afterwards to get kibibytes, mebibytes, and gibibytes. See how that works? So, do you think the computer industry started doing what the IEC said? No, they didn't. So now, what? I'm talking to you. You now have superior knowledge that the industry insiders know, abuse, and continue, despite being informed the practice must stop. But the thing is, the industry hasn't changed because they'd have to change every CD and DVD print that they do on the front of those discs, every label they put on the front of every hard drive, and even the cardboard packaging that they do and everything comes in. It'd be crazy. There's so much to change just to put kibibytes on there, or to add an I, because it's KI or GI to be accurate. See, they feel it would financially break the industry to change all the packaging and the printing and the standards to actually accurately report there is not 500 gigabytes of space on a drive that actually says 500 gigabyte. But now you know about the powers of 2. So let's put one more thing to the new IEC standard. These are all the listings of the differences between bytes and bits and all this other things. So people know that some things are calculated by 1000 and some things are calculated by 1024. Because some people, being the computer Microsoft company, says a kilo is 1024 of something. We're going to blow your mind by saying the initial standard piece of information called a bit, which is the size of a single character of the alphabet. Just if that's the only thing on the hard drive, one speck of one letter, or maybe just a 0 or a 1, that's the smallest space. That is called a bit, but not really. Fool your friends and know that in the binary world, that is called a nibble. Yes, it is, folks. A bit, if you're talking from the metric system, or otherwise it's called a nibble. And then there are 8 nibbles can make a byte, and it goes on from there. Interesting, don't you think? Okay, now to get you back and unexplode your head and bring you back to Earth. But you have some information to bring to your most know-it-all friend that knows everything about computers, because you have some piece of information from someone who uses this information to get into computers. Because it's important to know about kibibytes and how much information really resides on a hard drive for people that hack in. And so now you have superior knowledge over your friends. Let's go back to Earth for a second and we'll wrap this up. That was one off-the-wall presentation, but a subscriber actually requested it, and I did it. Not only did I talk about it, I talked about it. If you like the video, click like. Subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. One more thing, and that is, it's my birthday. Today is my birthday. Please leave a comment if you want that. You can do that below. It's a good time to leave comments, or if you got suggestions, whatever you want to do, I'm listening for you. Vest, tie, walking cap. You got it. Talk to you later.